Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at Ochakov. This is the premium Tier 8 Soviet light cruiser, and it was introduced in 9.4. This is my first impression of the ship, and this is my build on the screen. We use main armament protection, extended duration radar, because Tiers 7 and 8 can now do that since a couple patches ago, so take advantage of that. We have aiming mod, and the reason I use aiming mod over turret traverse, the turrets traverse at, I think, 12 seconds base, 13 seconds, so it's really fast. You don't really need that. There's not really a skill that I would prefer in slot 3, if I'm honest, but aiming seems the best because it helps with this, plus faster torpedo traverse. We also have rudder shift, concealment, and then for the commander, priority target, adrenaline rush, superintendent concealment, radiolocation, demolition expert, and jack of all trades. So this ship, unlike a lot of ships right now in the game, does not require any skill to enhance the turret traverse. It's already incredibly fast, and you can overlook that. You can choose other skills. As far as the consumable build is concerned, this is the only build that you can actually go. Damage control, defensive AA, radar, and hydroacoustic. You can't swap those. That is built into the ship, and that's the only build that you can go. Now, that's a nice change of pace from a lot of ships, because a lot of ships make you choose defensive or hydro, and a lot of Soviet cruisers even make you have to just accept that you have defensive AA, when a lot of players, myself included, probably feel like hydro gives you more value right now, currently in the game. So it's nice to have both of those. But that's not what we're really here for. We're really here for that radar. And with this Soviet light and heavy cruiser event, 9495, that we're going through, Wargaming is clarifying the design of the lines. Previously, the Moskva sort of combined both. It had all the advantages of the heavy cruiser armor package, but it also had extended duration radar, and they do not want that attached to 220. Since this is 152 millimeters, it has 152 millimeter penetration and radar duration. This radar lasts, I think, 25 or 30 seconds base. Extend that duration. You could conceivably kill the DD 100 to 0 in your duration of your radar. Much like the Des Moines, this duration is long enough that you yourself, all by yourself, can kill a target. Whereas some of the heavy cruiser for the Soviets, you will not have enough duration. You will not get 5 or 6 or 7 salvos in your radar effect. You will get at maximum 3. And that is absolute maximum. You're going to average 2, and, at times, maybe 1. Because the one target that you could hurt is, angled or moving away or some other reason for it. So the radar on the light cruisers for the Soviets is very, very nice because of the duration and the distance. Remember, it doesn't give up any range to get this extra duration. It, I think, in Wargaming's mind, is giving up the armor. And with 25 millimeters all the way around the ship, 70 millimeter citadel at the waterline, and then 27 millimeter deck, it is very vulnerable to battleship fire. Very, very vulnerable. And you don't have a heal, as you can see. It's not one of those tier 8s that does get a heal, unlike the Bag of Rations. That is the heavy cruiser variant. So Bag of Rations is trying to rely more on its ability to exist for a long period of time, rather than something like this light cruiser, where we're just trying to shoot through the problem. And we have a problem. Our team is leaving the center wide open, and I pulled out wide trying to get some damage, and, we only did, 21,000 damage. We're also not using IFHE, and the reason we're not using IFHE is because the value that it offers at this point is not good enough to me. I would much prefer to spend those 4 points on radiolocation, especially with a radar as devastating as this one. So I think that this is a candidate, just as the American heavy cruisers and light cruisers, for radar nearly every time, because it is that beneficial. It's always going to tell you where your closest opponent is, and if you see other opponents, because they're drawn on the map because they're cruisers or battleships, and they're right outside of 12 kilometers, well, guess what? The one person that your radiolocation is pointing at must be within 12. So we are moving back towards the center of the map. We're going to extend our reach over it and hopefully engage an enemy ship. And we've lost 2 ships back to back. It's not looking good. But we fortunately run across an Asashio. Now I activate my radar in an attempt to try and keep him forcefully spotted. And we're just trying to kill this man, because we've got to start somewhere, and teammates are doing a great job of damaging him. Light cruiser shells out towards him, we finish him off. It's much easier for the Soviet light cruisers to combo with their radar than the heavy cruisers. The heavy cruisers might have better concealment, but their radar duration is effectively only 2 salvos of their own guns, where the light cruisers, not that situation at all. But we continue to lose teammates. We need to try and get into a position where we can do the most damage. We are taking damage from enemies across the map, and we got to be careful because we are a light cruiser. So I find a friendly who conveniently has smoke, and we're going to try and do your typical Soviet smoke play with your light cruiser. We're going to try and line of sight the opponents and work on our opposing Ochakov. And there's also a Bismarck in the center, but we have full benefit from the smoke now. So we can fire for free, we can show full broadside. The only way they could actually spot us is to get a target in position, and with their only DD dead, ours is too, it's going to be really hard for them to do that. Literally only their aircraft could be a source of spotting that could actually show me to the enemy. So we're doing good. Bismarck sets one of the fires out, and I'm trying to set another fire to punish that play. And with light cruisers, you absolutely can do that, and I don't believe we were successful. But the friendly smoke just dissipated, and I took a shot, and I tried to stop, and I am in trouble. This is not good. We are broadside. 70mm Citadel. Literally anything can Citadel that at any range almost. So yeah, we got to angle and turn away. This is going to hurt bad. Okay, well, I think we got lucky. We had just enough angle to absorb most of it. So we're still alive, which is good. And if I keep moving this direction, we will have an island. Yeah, island blocks line of sight. So just fire on cooldown. Light cruisers very good at going up against enemy cruisers. And we have our sort of counterpart, the heavy cruiser premium tier 8. And we're doing good. Teammates are doing good as well. We should eventually finish this guy off. I do have more radar that I can use, and in fact, if we don't see this man from the fire, we would have. But we did, and we finished him off, so we're good there. Now, we're still 1 ship behind, but we're about 300 points behind. Not ideal, so we need to move forward and make even more plays than we have. So, radio location, it's pointing at that cruiser. It's giving me a hint that that cruiser is either still there or has, in fact, moved further forward. So I would like to round this island and possibly ambush him. Now, we have a couple friendlies that are out wide, west and east. Because they are, we need to try and combo with that. So if someone is going to... Oh, and this guy uses his radar. If someone's going to have line of sight or range to engage a target, well, we're going to try and give him a chance to take advantage of that, either by spawning or whatever. And he's dug in real deep in that island, so we can't really dig him out. If we use radar, we need to rely on our teammates to dig him out. And I'm trying desperately. I really don't want to use this radar. I'm trying desperately to do damage to him and have him spotted by someone. And the friendly aircraft carrier is a real bro. He uses his fighter, and it's spotting the target. Now, he is trying to kill it off, but it's taking him a while. And we're going to do a quick look over at the other side of the map. It's not going the best. We lost our teammate that moved too far forward towards the west. We have a North Carolina that's in the center or so. And we need to really, really deal a lot of damage in this position. So I am moving forward, hoping to contest. If we kill this guy, we can capture the center of the map. There is no more DD. And all the spotted targets are battleships or big heavy cruisers that are pulled back. So this guy is literally the only thing preventing us from capturing the center. And we need to. And ooh, look at that Cleveland. He's super low. Light cruiser shot over at him. Friendly Lexington is trying desperately to get in, but he doesn't. Thankfully, he spots the target long enough that I can shoot him, and we get that kill. We also defend, which is nice. We're going to take some damage for that. And you know what? I would shoot that shot every single time. Would not even hesitate. That was helpful. He was barely alive. We're a light cruiser. We're still alive. It's okay to take damage. As long as you are getting something from taking that damage, it's okay. And I felt really confident in that. So we use our hydro, keep the target spotted. We're going to move over here. He's still trying to use radar. We've got an enemy battleship, the Amagi. I'm going to try and manipulate the edge of the island, and the friendly Bismarck is coming this way, so we need to be careful. We don't want to get in his way, obviously. We're a small light cruiser. Now, before this game started, you probably noticed that our camo is kind of cool. The alternative camo scheme for Ochakov is black and white. It is a very clean black and white with sort of angled triangles to, I don't know, maybe bedazzle or create this effect of sort of a geometric wave. It's a very cool alternative camo scheme. Normally, the camo scheme is like blue on blue, blue with light blue. So I'm honestly pleasantly surprised by the alternative camo scheme that's available. And this alternative camo scheme, of course, is available if you unlock the Soviet alternative camo scheme. So that's a nice little bonus feature of the ship. And, of course, enemy Amagi. That enemy ship is still alive, dug in the center of the map, but he is finally given distance, and the friendly Lexington is able to torpedo him. So now we can capture. I am contesting the outer ring. The number 2 ring is being captured actively by the Amagi, and we are trying to contest it actively. We're giving him multiple things to deal with. Either he shoots us or he shoots a friendly, and we are the further target. So I feel very confident in harassing this man, and hopefully it'll draw attention away from my teammate. And if it doesn't, you know what? That's fine. But we're doing good damage. We've got 8 fires so far. Wouldn't really notice that we're missing out on IFHE. To me, IFHE is really good for a bow position battleship, stationary ships, where you can just fire on cooldown at their bow and stern. Otherwise, most of the deck armor that battleships carry is greater than the armor that you would be able to penetrate with your IFHE. So I feel like this is the way to go. Radiolocation is clearly superior in information gathering, and I can easily communicate that to my teammates as I do with my DD. So I like this build, and it couples very well with radar. Now, obviously, there's only one DD that was in this game, so you didn't get to see all the advantages there, but they're there. Now, the Amagi, barely alive, Lexington, should be able to kill him, and they're doing very well. Yeah, there we go, there we go. We've got the Richelieu and the North Carolina in the background, who's very low. Unfortunately, the Richelieu is going to be within detection, so I'm just going to open up on him regardless, look for a fire, force him to have to deal with us. If he lines of sight, we're going to switch right to the North Carolina and try and kill him. And he drops off spot. We could radar. That is always an option, but there's still another play available. So I figure we can shoot the North Carolina, then radar the Richelieu, possibly giving our teammate a chance. I always like to pause a second. I want players to commit to whatever strategy they're going to, and then commit a counter in detection. That feels the most successful, and that's partially the reason why I just paused there. But oh, we got North Carolina shooting us. Angle as best as we can. A's opening up. If we had IFHE, we could easily shoot his bow and do full damage. As we don't, this is the weakness of the strat. So instead, I have to locate my shells on his superstructure, and I think that does okay. But in that position, yes, IFHE clearly superior. And oh, what is this guy doing? Notice the torpedo angles. They are pretty good. Like, they are legitimately up there compared to, like, the French DDs. They're not quite French DDs, though. So you still have to angle your ship a little bit, and you will be vulnerable. So that is something you must be careful of. I was trying to potentially send both sets, port and starboard, because of the torpedo arc, but I'm waiting too long to get the perfect send against the Richelieu. Enemy aircraft carrier, of course, attacks us. But we're waiting too long, so I'm going to try and swing back around before the Richelieu rounds this and gets a torpedo off. And what? Richelieu spots us, fires his AP. I try to angle, but 25 millimeters. Can't stop that. And we don't kill him. We get him barely low. We cause a flood. He puts the flood out. Friendly attempts to kill him off, but doesn't, and he's left on 400 life or so. So all we've got left is the Samagi, who needs to just shoot him one more time. Good job, Amagi. And I believe that is it. That is the comeback. And that was pretty sweet. Now, we didn't even need to use all of our consumables. It wasn't really that type of game. But if it was a high DD game, we would function as good, if not better, because we would have that high rate of fire, the long duration radar, and we would have that high gun velocity. These light cruisers of the Soviets work very well for engaging targets at medium to long range. Ochakov seems to work just fine there. You do give up on your armor, of course, and there's no heal. So it's a tier 8 premium that doesn't have a heal and has no armor. It's a glass cannon. It's very vulnerable to fire. I don't necessarily think that the light cruiser package of the Soviets is noob friendly. Not in the way that something like the Moskva and the heavy cruiser armor is. You have to rely much more on, range and maneuvering and island camping and taking advantage of targets that may or may not smoke. And what is this, an Edinburgh with an American camouflage? How dare you, sir? But overall, I like it. The torpedo arc is fun. The range of the torpedoes, you could actually conceivably use it. And I think that the camo scheme is a surprising hit for me. Overall, enjoy the ship. It's whether you can get it for a good value, in your opinion. If you want it as a crew trainer or something like that, it's going to synergize well with the rest of the Soviet light cruiser line, but it's not going to work for the heavy cruisers. So keep that in mind. I look forward to covering the heavy cruiser line as well, and the heavy cruiser premium. Thanks so much. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent or the most relevant uploads. You could also choose to subscribe to my channel. We do daily World of Warship videos, first impression, how-to, news, and review related. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and catch you next time.